Hi everyone, and welcome back to Belinda's DIYs. If this is your first time here, welcome. So today I'm going to be creating these really nice fall farmhouse style signs using Dollar Tree items. There is only one item in particular that's from Dollar General. So before that we get started, I'm just going to ask that if you can please consider to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and also hit that bell icon, right there on the corner, so that you can be notified every time that I upload a new video. So if you're ready, let's go ahead and get started. I'll be creating this first sign. For these signs, I'm going to be using two of these Beware Dollar Tree signs, and they have these right now, so if you decide to do this project, you might as well go and grab these while they're still available. For the first sign, I'm going to use this country gray acrylic paint. So I'm going to start by painting the back side of the Beware sign, and I'm only going to give it one coat. Now that I've painted the board, I'm going to be using these $1 window clings from Dollar General. I absolutely love these. To me, they look kind of vintage, farmhouse. I just love the way that these look. I'm going to be using the pumpkins because I just love them so much, and also the saying that says welcome to our pumpkin patch. But it also has these sayings that says love harvest and so very thankful, so you can use this for several projects. I'm going to be using this Mod Podge so that my clings can cling onto my board. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is arrange them where I want them to be on the board. Now what I like about these clings is they don't stick on, obviously. You can just move them around until you're ready to glue them down. Okay, so I'm going to start by adding some Mod Podge on the area that I'm going to put my first pumpkin. And then once I lay it down, I'm just going to brush some more Mod Podge over it, and that'll seal it. And I'll be doing that to the rest of the clings that I'll be adding to this board. I did brush the Mod Podge over the entire board because I wanted to seal everything up. And this will just take a couple of hours before it's completely dry. And now that the glue is dry, this is how it turned out. And just to add a little bit more of decoration, I'm going to add this jute cord, and I'm going to wrap it around the top of the sign. I'm going to start off by just adding a dab of hot glue on the back side of the sign, and then just adding the jute cord, and then start wrapping it. And with this, you can wrap it as many times as you like. I only did this a few times. And this first sign is done. This was so easy to make. Next, I'll be creating this second sign. These signs have little holes up at the top, and I really should have used some of this spackling on the first one, but I'm going to go ahead and use it on this one. So you can find this spackling at Dollar Tree. Now I'm just going to roll it into a little ball, and then just place it over the little hole, and then just kind of smear it on there. And I'm going to give this about an hour to dry, and then I'm going to start painting. For this board, I'm going to be using the Waverly Matte Finish Acrylic Paint in the color white. I wanted this board to look more like a whitewash, so I added some water to the paint, and then I mixed it, and then I still needed a little bit more water to water it down some more, so I added more. And it still didn't give me quite what I was looking for, but I was okay with it. Once I thought the paint was okay, I started to paint my board. But as you can see, I keep adding water to my paint until I finally get it really nice and watered down. Because remember, I wanted this to look more like a whitewash stain board. And since I was going for the farmhouse look, I also wanted it to look kind of worn and old. So here I just want to bring you up close so that you can see how it looks. And now I'm going to give this just a few hours for it to dry before I continue with this project. And this is how it turned out now that the paint is dry. I'm going to be using these napkins from Dollar Tree, and I absolutely love this pumpkin print. Now what I'm going to do is Mod Podge these pumpkins onto my board. I've already pre-cut one and I'm going to cut 2 more. This print really caught my eye because it looked kind of vintage to me, or the pumpkins looked vintage, so I immediately knew that I wanted to use them in some kind of project. And as I'm cutting, I'm making sure that I'm right on the line where the pumpkins are so that I don't get any of the rest of the print. This is a double ply. I'm going to go ahead and remove that extra sheet of paper and just stay with the printed one. Okay, so now I've set them on my board where I want them to be. So I just wanted you to see more or less how I had arranged them. Now I'm going to go ahead and start adding the Mod Podge to them, and I'm going to follow the same steps as I did on the first sign. I'm just going to add some glue on the board and then place my pumpkin. Now this paper is very thin, obviously, because it is a napkin, so I'm gonna have to be very careful in not tearing it. Now I'm gonna let these dry. Now because the paper was very thin, it did crinkle up some, but I'm okay with that. Actually, what I should have done is maybe taken my sanding block and sanding that off and make it look worn and torn. Okay, so now the glue is dry and this is how it turned out. Now I think I am gonna go back and sand that off because I wanted to give it that rustic vintage look. I'm going to be tracing out these words, Hello Fall, and this is something that I hand wrote myself. So that's why the words don't look all that perfect. But let me tell you, I went ahead and I drew a line across where I thought it was the center, and then I wrote out the words. Now I also penciled on the back side all the letters, so that way when I place it on my board, I can go ahead and trace the letters out and it'll transfer onto my board. Now this is a technique that I've been using already for a while, and I've shown several videos in me doing this in several other objects. Okay, so I started tracing out the letters. However, I had to press down a little bit harder on my pencil, more than usual, because the glue was not allowing the lead to transfer that easy. And once I was done tracing the letters, this is how it turned out. Now what you can do is handwrite any other words that you'd like and put them onto the board just like I did, or you can find some large stickers that have some nice sayings and put them on your board. It's really up to you. And now to trace out my words, I'm going to be using this oil-based black color Sharpie. I like to use this when I write out words, that way it looks kind of like paint and not so much like a marker. And this is how it turned out. Well, that's it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up and also share. I'd really appreciate it. You have yourself a blessed day. And remember, love, laugh, and create. Until my next video, bye-bye and God bless.